Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Alright fellas, welcome back. It's been a quiet week. I haven't done anything. I haven't done no filming, I haven't done no real editing. I've been super busy. Work's been manic and I'm on call. I'm actually on call at the minute. I've barely been in the house. It's been that bad. So the editing's been pushed back and I've not been able to get it to film anything. The next possible time that I can brew is the following weekend to this. I'm filming this on Saturday. So in like a week's time I can brew and then I'm on call again. So it's busy. I've got to get some keg space. The stout is where I want it for carbonation wise, so that can go into bottles. I want to bottle it and wax the tops for Christmas. That frees up a keg and then we can get the production rolling again. Just this morning uploaded the vac sealer video, and so I'm just going to run through just quickly the questions that were on that before we jump into the Q&A, which we left on the Facebook page. The vac pack came with these bags, which are, I think they're a foot, they're 12 inch. And then I ordered some off Amazon that were a little bit thinner, but they still do the job than these. So I've got plenty of bags. I got a question from Brian, Short Circuited Brewers. He said, how long will they last milled in a vacuum sealed bag? I don't actually know. I do know that all the air's been well, most of the air, not 100%, but the majority of that air is sucked out and sealed, so it's going to be fresher than just taping up the bag or putting it in a sealed container. Yeah, I got a couple of people saying about the hoppage. You can obviously use it for hops. Well, it brings me around to this. Now, when I got this on the 31st of October, I did a couple of seals. It worked okay, and I thought, well, I'll keep these knocking around. These are no good. These are old. In fact, these were left out in the shed. I forgot about them, and so were these. So I just did a bit of a test seal, and since the 31st of October to this date of this recording, they have maintained the seal, which is handy. So yeah, the hops as well. The hops are going to be kept fresher for longer, which is brilliant, because when I freeze them, I'm just sort of rolling the bag up, taping over the hole that I've made and sticking them in the freezer. It's not ideal, so I can vac pack now the hops as well. Okay, kick it off with Kim Pedler. He said, go-to bittering hop is, I'm quite liking the Columbus. It's a nice bittering hop, it's not harsh, it does the job. John Ortgeist Jr., do you see yourself opening up your own pub? You know what? It would be nice. I have given it serious thought. I may be hashing something out for the future, but we don't know yet. What's your favourite beer for the holidays seasons coming up? Christmas beers. Well, that's the reason why I brewed this stout. So a nice big old stout, but I do quite like as well having a good stock of a good fresh, zesty, citrusy pale or an IPA, something like that, just to cleanse everything from all the food and fat I'm going to be consuming. Simon Linford has put, I've noticed some brewers use pellet hops and some use leaf. Some say that leaf hops soak up too much beer/wort. Which is best? Which is best? I don't really know. I tend to use pellet, and I have heard that in the process of turning the hops into the pellets, that you do lose a little bit of them essential oils, and some people say that you do lose, like I say, some of the flavours. So the flavours are a little bit more mellow, not quite as fresh as a whole leaf. But I haven't really noticed much of a difference. Kevin Scanlon, your top 5 brew tubers. Oh man, I don't like doing this. I watch quite a few people. I don't particularly have the top 5. The channels that sort of grab me are the channels where there's a journey taking place. or they're starting to do something. So if they start a series on a brewery build or something like that and progressing through their channel as they put up videos, that's what sort of hooks me. I do know that Short Circuited Brewers put out some great content. You can tell that they work hard to get the products in to review. You can tell that they spend a lot of time with the editing, and it's well put together. And I can tell you that Stash Brewing hasn't got nearly enough followers as he deserves. Chris Taylor, have you ever looked at reusing yeast? And also, what the hell do you say at the end of your videos? Yeah, once upon a time I'd washed some yeast, but to be honest with you, yeast is pretty much cheap enough to not take the risks of washing it, to reuse it, the chance of picking up an infection, or if you're using a yeast in a beer, like a fruit beer like we had for the coconut IPA, and then it transports flavours that you don't want into another beer. Yeast isn't that expensive. If the yeast was really expensive, I'd probably take a bit more time and effort into reusing yeast, but it's cheap enough just to use fresh each time. What do I say at the end of the video? I'll have to wait and find out at the end of the video. Alex Sidebottom, could you put the recipe for the breakfast stout you did up somewhere? Is it not on the video? Richard Griffiths. This is an interesting question actually. It's put, hi Tom, what's your view on cask real ale versus kegged beers? And do you think a particular type of beer works better served a particular way? Yes. Yeah, it's funny that, because the coconut IPA on draft, on Ample, is a completely different beer altogether than a coconut IPA served on gas at the keg. And I think on draft, the smoothness of the coconut and the coconut flavour itself is more pronounced. You don't get any of that carbonation sort of getting in the way. So for the coconut IPA, I prefer it draft. And I think, for me, a stronger ale I prefer served on gas. So it's giving you a little bit more freshness with that carbonation that's racing through it. Not a hell of a lot, but I think sometimes, for me, a big old sticky double IPA or something like that on draft can be a little bit too cloying and a little bit too boggy, and I think it needs that carbonation to just freshen it up a little bit. The last question from Jay Curry. Is it true you keep 100 grams of mosaic hops in your beard to make it smell nice? No. I use 200 grams. Oh my god. I do like these Q&As. We're going to have to do more of them. So yeah, coming up, I've got to get the bottles ready for this stout that we're kegging, and then we're going to do the wax topping, hopefully. And I've never done that before, so that'll make for a good video. But that's it, fellas. So as always, don't forget to watch video tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to your channel. Until next time, I'm out of here. Did you get that?
Yep. It's made with bits of real panther, so you know it's good. It's quite pungent. Oh yeah. Stings the nostrils.